So we have the notes on the ukulele, and now to play different chords on the ukulele, of course, chords are chords on any instrument, and notes are notes on any instrument, and the music theory behind it all is the same on any instrument, okay? But we're going to talk just about ukulele. So if we look at, say, a C chord, do that. Okay. So a C chord, okay, the normal standard type of a C that you would play like that. Okay, is open, 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 and then the third fret. Okay, so the standard C that we play could be written like that. There we go. Okay, so from the G to the A string, 0, 0, 0. Why did I write 1? I meant 3. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 3. So the notes that we're playing, okay, this string is the G, so that note is a G. So this 0 is actually a G note. This 0 is actually a C. This 0 here is actually an E, the note that we're playing. And then here, the third fret on the A string, we have another C. So G, C, E, C. So in music theory terms, a C major chord, a C chord, is made up of the notes C, E, and G. So we just start with the root note. It's a C chord, so we start with C. And then we put them in alphabetical order from there. So C, E, G is a C chord, a C major chord. Okay, so if we look at this, okay, you might notice that if we take the C, you could play a C here, which we did in this chord that we just did. You could play a C there, which we did in this chord that we just played. You could also play a C here, and that's the 5th fret on the G. You could also play a C here, the 8th fret on the E. Okay, so there's different places to play Cs. And of course, if we continued on even higher up, there would be more Cs that could be played. So the C can be played up to the 10th fret, let's say. 1, 2, 3, 4 different places. Okay, yeah, I think that's all there is, 4. So the next note, E, we play it here. When we played the C that we just played, the normal, everyday kind of C that people play, E is there. But we could also play an E here. We could also play an E here. We could also play an E here. So 4 different places for the E. The G, we play here. But we could also play a G here. We could also play a G here. We could also play a G here. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 different places for the G. Okay. Then you might notice over here that we're playing C, E, G, and an extra C. Okay? We could play, well, first, right here, C, E, G, just those 3 strings. Just those 3 strings. No, sorry. That is a C chord. So C, E, G. Just those 3 strings is a C chord. So we could play a C at the 3rd fret, and what we've done is we played a C chord and an extra C. Okay? We could play an E, and now we've played C, E, G, and another E. Okay? So, do you see how that kind of works? It doesn't matter which note we double, or we don't have to double any at all. We could just play these 3 open strings. And that's it. Okay, so now if you're playing something and you decide, well, you know, I don't like that big open C chord. I want something that sounds different. Okay, you could play a C, I'm trying to get it in camera, a C here, an E, a G, in this other C. C, E, G, C. Okay, so that's now, here's the 5th fret. So 5, 4, 3, 3. 5, 4, 3, 3. So now what we're playing is C, E, G, C. C, E, G, C. Okay? We could play C, E, G, in this E up here if we wanted this really higher E. So we could play a C, 5, 4, 3, and then what is that, 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we're playing C, E, G, and another E. Okay, so we've now doubled the E here. You can kind of just do whatever you want as long as you're playing C, E, G. As long as you're at least playing all 3 of those notes. Okay, so you could not go and play C, E. Well, you know what? An even easier way to do this is not a C chord would be 0, 0, 3, 3. Okay, so that is not a C chord, 0, 0, 3, 3, because you're playing G, C, G, C. You're not playing an E at all. G, C, G, C. So that's the problem, there's no E. Okay, so this actually spells out, this is a C5 chord. It's called a C5 because you're playing just the C and then the G, which is an interval of a 5th in music terms. So all you're playing here is a C5. It is not a C chord. It is not a C major chord. Okay, so you may want to play different chords in different places to get different sounds and whatever. If you're playing something that has a certain melody, okay, like, I don't know if I can do this with the camera where it is. Okay, so you're playing a C. Okay, and then you might want to play this C instead. Okay, it sounds slightly different. But then the other one that I gave the option, where you go up to the 7th fret. Yeah, it's hard. Hold on. Okay, that, where I'm playing the 7th fret here. Okay, so maybe you have a melody that goes, and then it goes to this note, and you want to have a C chord there. And then, okay, so you might want to have that, because now if I played, if that's the melody, and I go, and play just the open C that most people use for a C, now the melody goes to there. It doesn't go, which is where I wanted it to be. Okay, I could do that too though, because that has the open C, the open E, the open G, and then I'm doubling an E there. So that's another option for it, if you decide that this option is too much of a hassle to get to. And it's only a hassle because I'm like leaned over trying to keep this in frame on the video. And actually when I play that, okay, another thing to think about is the sound of a chord, not just the notes. When I play it, those open strings overpower that note a little too much. So I don't think I would go with that as an option. Okay, but anyway, with all of this, you can figure out how to play different chords. Okay, so like let's say a G chord, just that plain old regular G that people play. I'll zoom back in a little bit. Okay, so the notes that we're playing are G, D, G, B. Okay, so a G chord is, you start with the G because that's the root note. Just when we're labeling the notes in a chord, it's G, and then after G would come A, alphabetically music-wise, G, A, and then B. So G, B, D are the notes that make up a G major chord, a G chord. So G, B, D, and then we're just playing another G there. And it's actually the exact same G as I just played here. It's the same note. Okay, but nonetheless, whatever. So G, B, D is important that we're playing. Okay, so you could play a G chord, G, B, D, and double the D there. Okay, so we're now at the 7th fret, so 7, 7, 7, 5. And that would be a G chord, G, B, D, and playing an extra D. G, B, D. Okay, or G, B, D in the G way up here on the 10th fret. It's not in frame, there we are. Okay, doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're playing G, B, D, because that's what makes up a G chord. G, B, D, and that's just a G again. Okay, so hopefully this all makes sense. So what you can do for an exercise is figure out how to play a song, a real simple song. Okay, let's say that the chords go C, F, G, C. Okay, so let's say that that's where is it? There it is. I'm trying to get it on frame. So C, F, G, C. Okay, and you could play just the regular C, F, G, C, or play it different ways. So C, I could play the C there. I could play an F. Well, you know what, why don't we just do that too? Okay, an F. Normally you would play it as 2, 0, 1, 0. A, C, F, A. F, A, C. And doubling the A. Okay, F, A, C is an F chord. So, F, A, C, right here at the 5th fret, and then the C on the 3rd fret. Okay, so if we go with that, we could play the C, we could play an F, we could play a G, and then a C. Okay, so I'm playing the C. Let me kind of come back out again. Okay, so I'm playing the C like that. So 5, 4, 3, 3, then 5, 5, 5, 3, and I'm not going to play it because I'm trying to hold it so it's in frame and my fingers are all squashed. And then 7, 7, 7, 5 would be a G chord, and then back to the C again. So now we have so different, especially the G. Instead of, you can really hear the difference. Or when I play the 7-7-7-5 option. Okay, so what you can do is go through and play some song, figure out what the chords are. Oh, excuse me. I felt that coming and thought I could keep it from happening, but I guess not. So figure out some song with chords and rearrange some of the chords, or all of the chords, into just different ways to play them on the ukulele, and see how it sounds, see how you like it. You can get different sounds, you can get a lot of just different notes within the chords, just different placements of the notes. So it can be kind of fun and interesting, and it's a great way to really learn the neck, the notes and everything on the ukulele. So there we go. Ugh. I packed everything up and totally forgot to mention, if a chord contains more than three notes, then you do need to have all of those notes in the chord to make the chord. There are cases where you could drop a note, but that gets a little more involved than what we're going to talk about right here. So let's say like a G7 chord. You play it as open, 2nd fret, 1st fret, 2nd fret. So G, putting it in alphabetical order musically, G, B, D, F. Okay? If you just play G, B, D, remember that's just the G chord. The F is what makes it the minor, the 7th. The F is what makes it the 7th. So you do need that 4th note. G, B, D is just a G chord. Adding the F makes it a G7 chord. So when you then have to find another spot for it, you do need to have those 4 notes. You can't drop out the F because now it's not a G7 anymore. Or, drop out the G because now it's not a G anything anymore. It's a little tricky, but just remember that if you have 4 notes, you do need to have those 4 notes present if you're going to rearrange to find a different chord. So I forgot to mention that and thought that I would just kind of throw that out there. So there you go.